Hi everyone, my name is Asaf Meisel from Right at Home Real Estate, and this is the second video that will be addressing the new Standard Lease Regulation that will take effect in May 1st, 2018. In the last video, I promised to answer the question to number one concern that homeowners have when they decide to lease their house to a stranger. The question was, how can the homeowner protect their rights and interests under the new Standard Lease Regulation? Prior to answering this question, I would like to point out a few clauses directly from the agreement that stood out for me. Let me just read them to you. This agreement cannot take away the rights and responsibilities under the Residential Tenancies Act, meaning that anything we write in the agreement has to comply directly with the Residential Tenancies Act. The tenant cannot be required to pay rent by post-dated checks or automatic payments. Well, how else can the homeowners collect payments? The rent deposit cannot be more than 1 month's rent or the rent of one rental period. Now, up until now, 99% of homeowners collected the first and the last month's rent. So it's going to be very interesting how it's going to be starting May 1st, 2018. The tenant may assign or sublet the rental unit to another person only with the consent of the landlord. Now, the landlord cannot unreasonably withhold consent to a sublet or potential assignee. Now, what's reasonable or unreasonable? Who decides what's reasonable? It's very subjective in my opinion. The tenancy agreement cannot prohibit animals in the rental unit or around the residential building. It's very interesting. The agreement does have a non-smoking section, but the Residential Tenancies Act does not discuss smoking in general. So if my agreement that I'm writing for my landlord has to comply directly with the Residential Tenancies Act, how come the agreement does have a section for smoking and the Residential Tenancies Act doesn't discuss that? It's also very interesting. The agreement doesn't have a section for appliances, which is kind of also interesting because since every house, almost every residential lease includes appliances, a clause in some shape or form has to be included in the agreement. This is just a few examples from the agreement, just to point out to you how it's being created towards the tenant. So since the new lease agreement is so tenant friendly, how the landlord can protect their rights and interests under the new Standard Lease Regulation? I've created a few rules to help you guys to protect your rights and interests under the new Standard Lease Regulation, and I would like to point out to you. Number one, tenant screening. I have created a document that I send to every potential tenant, and they must provide all the essential documents that I request. Now, part of the essential documents are credit report and confirmation of employment. That's part of the standard. I've created a few other documents that the tenant has to provide, which helps me to decide whether this tenant is going to be legit and will pay on time or not. Now, if you'll ask me, I have leased houses to people that didn't provide me some or even all of the essential documents, and they still make a very good and loyal tenant. Now, if you want a few extra tips on that, my email is info@meiselrealty.ca, and I will send you a few tips that will help you to decide whether the tenant is legitimate or not. Rule number two, verify all the essential documents that you have received. Some people can falsify documents and they're being very creative in the marketplace. So my job is to verify, confirm, and make sure that all the documents are up to date. And then I decide whether the tenant is okay to get into the house or not. Rule number three, provide a checklist with the keys and ask the tenant to go through the house and mark all the imperfections and things that they think require attention. They will have to go and mark certain things around the house, check electrical appliances, and so forth. Submit it back to the homeowner, and then the homeowner will decide what requires immediate attention and has to be fixed, or what can be left as is, and then when the tenant moves out, the landlord will know what condition the tenant have received the house and what condition he is giving back the house. So it's very important to do that, and it also creates a very good rapport with the tenant, and the tenant feels that the homeowner cares about their house, and so they will as well. So it's very important to start it on the right note. Rule number four, I highly encourage the homeowner to visit the house every half a year for inspection and maintenance. This would help to identify potential problems that can be fixed prior to becoming a major damage. Let me just remind you what was the question again. How can the homeowner protect their rights and interests under the new Standard Lease Regulation? Well, based on these 4 points, the answer is kind of obvious. You have to choose a great tenant with solid paperwork and maintain your house in a great shape. And this will create great relationships with the tenant and reduce the chance of a conflict in the first place. Now in my next video, I'll introduce you to the Residential Tenancies Act, to the main points of the Residential Tenancies Act, and I'll tell you exactly what you need to do if you got a problematic tenant. If you have any more questions that I can help you with, please email me at info@meiselrealty.ca and I'll be more than happy to get in touch with you. Also, if you're starting to become an agent or you're already licensed, come join us at meiselrealty.ca team and we will be more than happy to work with you and we will make sure that you start earning as soon as you join the team. So I'm glad you're watching this video. Please share it, subscribe and like this video, and I'll see you soon in my next video.